Thanks. All righty. Well, we've got a lot of things to cover, so we're going to try to move through it as quickly as we can. Number one, last night I held a little, a little gathering. It was done very quickly. Started basically, kicked it out on Monday afternoon, I think it was, because we had just gotten approved for our new banner for the One World Together banner, and by the Board of Selectmen just a few days ago. So I tried to quickly put together a thing so we could see if we could rally some people to be able to donate. The cost of the banner is $2,900, and we had 8 people register. We had 2 people actually attend. Now, you look at the statistics and say, well, that's about 25%, which is for any of these kind of events relatively normal. But the really awesome thing was the fact that the 2 people who did come both donated, and we're already halfway to our goal. So imagine we could add if we had 8. But yeah, great kudos to Brad, who jumped in and gave us a wonderful donation to get it kicked off, and then Betsy Heffernan, who is one of the landlords in the downtown, and has and just in case you guys don't realize that her dad, Mike Heffernan, was basically our first our first sponsor. He was the one who I sat down with just before I created the fund, back in basically late 1988, to talk about the idea, and he got like completely psyched about the whole thing, and said, "Hey, you're talking about wanting to do sculptures. I've always had this idea of wanting to be able to like get a sculpture and like dedicate it to my mother, who's going to be turning 100, and I'd really like to to do something." And we're like, "This is awesome." So in the end, the Once Upon a Time sculpture that you see in the town common was our first installed project, and it happened because of Mike Heffernan and his family. There's also a bench for the Heffernan family on the left of the bus stop. So they've been there from the beginning, and it was just wonderful that she was interested in being able to contribute, and I found out during today that those 2 donations have come in, and as I said, we're now halfway to the halfway to the goal. I met with Megan, who is the couple that owns what's now going to be the Needham Country Store, which is on Great Plain Avenue, down across from Hershey Station. That's where the Dunkin' Donuts is. Her and her husband own, I think, 4. They own all the Dunkin' Donuts in town, plus at least 1 or 2 in some other towns. And she's had this concept of wanting to turn that into a general store for the town. And if you haven't had a chance to stop in, as soon as you walk in the door on the left-hand side, she's basically created sort of the miniature version of what used to be in Taylor's, which was a little store with all kinds of holiday items and different types of gift types of things that are in there. They've also brought in a bunch of food from local food vendors. And it was funny, I went in to just meet with her because she said she'd be interested in being able to help us out in terms of getting the banner funded. And I had my next stop was to stop at the grocery store, but I was able to buy all the things I needed to be able to make dinner tonight at her place. Because
it's a great little store.
Yeah. So anyway, if you haven't stopped in, definitely go check it out. It's not just the Dunkin' Donuts anymore. And she's just got approved for her new sign and awning to really make the place look more like a country store. So anyway, so my hope is that by tomorrow, that I can reach out to enough people to be able to get us to to the funding. As I said, it's about $1,500 is what we need now, and from the donations that I hope I can collect, if I can get commitments for them, then I can order the banners and get them in process, because it'll probably take them 2 weeks to get it to us. We've held off pulling the American flags down until we can do the cycle to be able to put up this banner, because we would normally, of course, be putting up the Needham New Year's banner. I've also created 3 videos, which you did last week, that were just finished up later this afternoon. One is a video to be able to promote donating to the Eaton Square Art Gallery. The second is to promote funding the Thorpe Park box wrap created by Eddie Bruckner. And the third one is to promote donating to the banner. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to put those up on Facebook and start running them, and see if we can get some people to donate and help us get some funds into the fund to get us into the first quarter of next year. At the moment, we have been able to fund through this final quarter, which is great. So our obligations are basically covered through December 31st. And now it's basically, we have the rolling quarter of the $2,400 to be able to cover for the core expenses for what's basically the payment what's due in January, first week of January. So this will give us an opportunity to be able to rally, right into the holiday season. Hopefully we get a variety of donations from different sources between the promotion of these videos and other people, rallying to help get the banner done, so that we'll have the reserves that we need, since we had lost $2,500 worth of sponsorship between the Exchange Club and the Needham New Year's, and about $400 to $500 worth of donations from Chapel Street, where we would normally be rotating banners for a variety of different organizations that would be holding events that they, of course, couldn't hold. So that's where it is. So I mean, relatively speaking, we've done pretty well to be able to get through the end of this year with without having those specific sponsorships. And I've reached out to 2 other people to be able to who have in the past been regular donors, to see if they would renew their sponsorships. And so we're waiting to hear back from them. So that's the update in terms of those kind of things. One of the questions I have for you guys is, when I send out these videos, if you could help distribute those videos to the people that so that they can, be aware of the kind of things that we're looking to be able to fund and help us, keep on rocking, that would be great. The second is, if any of you have been able to, get some time to be able to start sending out some of the notes, whether you use the version that that I created, or anything, just a personal note from yourself that could be either tied now to the tied to the video that you could include in it, or or anything else basically that would help us with the appeal. Have any of you been able to start off sending any of those types of things out? You can unmute if you can. You should be able to. I saw Mary.
No, I actually talked to some people. I talked to some people about it. I have not sent anything out, but I have spoken to a number of people about it, and I'm hoping that some of them will jump on board. We'll see.
Okay.
I think one of the other things is we're doing a promotional thing in the office about, like getting to know Needham. It's mostly businesses, but I'll probably do a very brief 1 minute so we can do it on Instagram interview with you, Bahal, at some point to pop it up on our company-wide thing. Okay.
Sure. Any way I
Okay.
can help?
Yeah,
Let me-
I will. Chris, the person that's working on it in the office, hasn't got it done yet. I've got some things already done, but I'm waiting for him to pull it all together. But
Okay.
I'll be in touch. Okay.
Yes, that sounds great. And, for anyone else, if you have any things that are, that would help, whether it's from your company, or just, basically anything that you would like me to be able to help do, don't hesitate to ask. I'll, do whatever I can to be able to help promote and support what you're trying to do. So next, town common reservations, renovations. I attended the select board meeting the other night, and they also, as part of that, unveiled the new town common design. I don't know whether any of you have seen it. It is significantly different. I think I sent you a link or a PDF in the things. Hopefully it came through, that I sent off as part of the agenda, that would allow you to be able to click on it and be able to see the new design. I think it's going to be very important that that all of us really look at the design and basically bring back to us as a group any of our comments or insights or things that that you'd really like to get answers to. The concept is is comes from a different intention than what the previous design was. So some of the things that are happening is that the circle of peace is being moved. The center of the common is going to be just grass, with no trees on it other than the blue tree. The trees will all be placed around the perimeter edge, as will the circle of peace and the Once Upon a Time sculpture. There'll be two swing sections, and I mean like literally swings, that are under an enclosure on either side of the common, where I think it includes, 2 or 3 swings side by side underneath the enclosure. Then there are, as best I can count, I believe I've only been able to count 4 sitting benches around the perimeter now. There will still be the 6 that are on the outside wall, which are there now, and I don't know whether they're going to convert them to a new style bench. But but what's basically going to happen is all the benches that are on the common are going to go away. I've taken photographs of all the nameplates on all the ones that are on the common, plus a couple more which were actually moved temporarily off the common, and to have them be hopefully brought back to the common. And that having a conversation with Ed Olson, that he said that they're going to work to be able to get the name plaques installed onto the benches that will go back onto the common. So some of that, legacy for the celebration benches will hopefully be continued forward. So, I think, yeah, go ahead.
Why? Why do they need swings on the common when Queens Field is 1 block down?
these are all questions that are important to ask. And that's why I say it's very important to be able to look at this. A couple of things. One is that haven't confirmed this, but I don't know that anyone from the NBA slash, chamber was on the working group. Obviously, I was not asked to be on the working group. I expressed that, to Ed. He said he was not the one who made the choices as to who would be on the committee. But I thought it was interesting that, after we've spent basically 20 years creating the common as a, highly magnetic place, that they chose to design it outside our input.
Well, the other thing about it is, did they do this before the common? I mean, the common has been used unbelievably this year.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I was driving by in the rain the other day, and there were people sitting under that canopy.
Yeah.
Sitting at one of the tables. Is all that just going to go? I mean, is it going to be used? Or
Well,
is it to keep people off?
well, no, I don't. There certainly is not their intention to keep people off. I think they're looking for a more contemporary concept, which I told that there are, there are a number of benches, especially the ones that have been there before we even started doing any of the benches, that are in tough shape. Previously, they've not had any budget to be able to actually repair them. Part of what I've been asking about is, and I believe that their intention is, from what I'm told, to build in a budget to be able to help maintain the things that that are being installed as far as the new plan goes, which is obviously critical. You can't put out street furniture and things along that line and then have no budget to maintain them long term. Our benches haven't needed any slats replaced or those kinds of things, but the ones that were placed before, that they definitely do. I mean, there's one bench that's still on there, that Mary Tennant, that still has the tiny little brass plaque with a plastic cover on it. But the bench itself is very worn. It's made out of the redwood that was the original ones that were done, and they don't wear well. So, yep.
The original benches were also, maybe to some of the newer people here in Needham, was a different wood from what we have done since we've done the Revitalization Trust Fund.
Yes, no, that's my understanding is that they were made out of redwood.
Yeah.
And obviously all the ones we do were out of Ipe, as well as the ones when the town put benches out on the streets, those are made of Ipe also.
Yeah, and they certainly have been disrepair, as well as even those that have been able to be okay with the wood, but it looks as if it needs a lot of help.
Yeah, and so their concept for this is the benches that they'll be using for this redesign will be powder coated steel. They had a concept of what the bench looks like. You'll see that in the PDF. But they'll basically the concept of having a wooden type bench on the common, which has been the traditional thing because it was more in line with the sort of the traditional environment of the common, is something that they're changing for two reasons. One is, of course, long-term maintenance, and the second is also to give it to a more contemporary feel, which is fine if they can include the celebration plaques from the donors from the benches that exist now, at least in the new configuration. Then sort of the feel of being able to have people's thank yous to people that have been meaningful to them, or to the town itself, will be carried forward, and that's part of the experience of being on the common. But the center grass area is, is designed as a large open area on the end closest to the opposite the blue tree, closest to the town common. There were 4 different designs they came up with that would have a tent location someplace on the common, as we have it now. But the one that seems to be of most favor is one that has basically a square in the center, in the end of, if you imagine that the center common is now shaped like a football on the inside, a green football, with a pathway that runs around the outside of it. And then the blue tree is at one end, and at the other end, they have a design that shows a rectangle in the center and then 2 paths that converge towards that. And the intention is to be able to have that be a tent area. So whether it's for COVID or not, that the idea of being able to have a tent area on the common is something that a lot of people wanted to be able to carry forward as potentially a regular thing, which, I think from a standpoint of the town, that's a big breakthrough. I mean, when we started this, the town common was basically a place where they were trying to keep people off of it for the most part. And including having the police go through to be able to, to get teenagers to be able to leave it, as on a regular basis. So, we said it was a big irony is the fact that, we started off by having the police removing the children from the common. And then, we put in the children that stay there all the time. So, it's, it was definitely a perspective change on that. But anyway, so that's true. There are also 2 other spots on the design that I could see in the design that are actually picnic tables that are set over to the sides. One of them is just to the side of where the Circle of Peace is being relocated to. And there's another one on the other side, which also flanks, I think, where the swings are on the opposite side, which is the Once Upon a Time sculpture appears to be going to the right of where that swing area is, with still some plantings and garden behind it. So yeah, you need to look at it, and it's going to be important for all of you to be able to get a perspective from it, because we have a historical look from it, certainly between Mary Ruth and Carol and myself, because we've seen it for a long time, and you guys who've had the experience of it coming in at when you have, and then look at how that will change one way or the other for the experience of how it would be for from your perspective. So that's a scoop. Let me know if you can't find the link that takes you to the basically it was the PDF download from the November 10th select board meeting. So if you don't see it, one of the other ways you can do is go to the town website, find the PDF download for the select board meeting on November 10th, and download that, and that'll allow you to scroll through to where you get to that presentation. The second presentation that's also valuable for you to look at in there is the Downtown Streetscape Phase 2. And it's very nice looking, and it includes, if you remember that when they originally did the streetscape design, that they were going to do it in sectors. So the first sector was taking care of the traffic lights and the control in the downtown, and then from there it would expand to basically either north, south, east, or west, depending on the particular phase. And there was a lot of feedback that it would be better to do it as a concentric outflow, so that basically what they built in the center then expands wider to go further down the streets in all four directions. And so now they're doing that. That also means that it includes the gateways, towers that come in. One set is established at Maple Street, basically just before where the post office or I should say just before where or across the street from Proud Mary, that store, that it's or where Clark and White used to be. And the second one is down at Pickering Street, at the other end of Great Plain. Those towers allow the incorporation of the across the street banner. So there's the potential of being able to have two over the street banners with the intention of being able to tie it off to these towers, which are built specifically to be able to not only look very attractive, but also to support those banners, which people have been asking for a long time, and had to go through a vote at town meeting to be able to get approved. So you'll also see that there's outdoor dining spots, just basically which are, the 3 season spots that the town is establishing. And there's 2 of them that are incorporated into the new streetscape design. And, then a variety of other, little elements that show up in terms of widening sidewalks and being able to create easier flow for bicycles and that kind of thing. So definitely, you've got a lot to be able to check out in that PDF. But please, provide any feedback you can to me, so that when I was talking to Ed, he was great. First of all, he alerted me, Ed Olson. He called me to specifically alert me to the fact that the select board was going to be able to be reviewing both the town common redesign and the downtown streetscape second phase. And the second is that he's inviting me to the final meeting of that downtown working group to be able to, basically be there and listen and potentially provide any feedback that you guys provide or that I hear from anyone else. I'm just, one of the things that that's sort of the next stage of this apparently is that it's going to go then out to the general public to be able to get some commentary. So they had their working group brought in people who were from who were connected with ADA and the bicyclists and a variety of other types of groups with the intention of getting their input on that. So they have a cross section of concerned citizens that were part of this thing. And that's how this basically, was formulated. But the general public, unless they watch that meeting, I don't think they have any perception of how, the common will change. The one thing is that even though this plan was designed specifically to be able to be incorporated next year, that from the people that I've talked to, both Ed and others, that the expectation is this plan won't actually go into play until 2022, because no one wants to do anything to impact construction in the downtown while all the retailers are really struggling to just stay alive. So It's basically a 2-year out program, but they're going ahead with getting the funding, getting final plans designed, so that they can submit and be able to get all the funds earmarked for this project, which between the two of them, I believe, is $4.2 million. So, any thoughts or comments?
Yeah, I would love to. That's, because I'm not opposed to things looking more modern. I reacted like Mary Ruth on the swing set, where we have, the big, park right down the next, right next to the Y that belongs to the town. Why that was important to be there on that. Was John Cusick on that group?
Say again?
Oh.
It distorted, so I didn't hear what you said.
Was John Cusick on that committee?
I don't know. I would think he would have been, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact list of the people who were on the committee.
okay.
So they worked basically for the last 3 months to be able to, do what they had done. Now, I can tell you that Ed Olson had put together an initial plan for this several years ago.
Yeah,
Working on it because one of the things that's obviously his focus is the fact that there's a lot of sort of underlayment issues with the town common. In terms of settling soil, the irrigation system is broken in a number of places. Some of it was from the construction of Town Hall when they placed all the heavy materials on the common as a storage place. Apparently, the weight of those also broke some of the underground, sprinkler system. The other is that there's also, inadequate power on the common to be able to do, even, as running the street fair, harvest fair, they always have to have a generator out there because they can't draw enough power from regular sources on the common. Part of the new redesign is providing multiple places to be able to plug in, basically the length of the common, so that that whole idea of having to put out generators and do that kind of thing will be eliminated. So there are a bunch of infrastructure things that are going to be very positive in terms of being able to, improve the overall experience and use of the common. Obviously, from a space management standpoint, I don't know whether anyone's done an overlay on the layout of all the booths for Street Fair and Harvest Fair based on the new configuration, and whether that increases or reduces the number of booths that are possible. So
One other thing is that in bringing people into Needham that have never been here before, driving them around, not that I drive people in this year, but driving people around. One of the things they always comment on is how New England, how the center of Needham looks like a very typical New England town. And it's because the common is the way it is. I believe, I could be wrong. We have a beautiful town hall that isn't at all modern, except inside.
Yeah.
And I hope it fits in. I'll look at it too.
Yeah,
It's just aesthetically, I understand that they need it because there are things that really are wrong with it, not having the electrical, not having water supply, and there are those things they really have to take care of. But aesthetically, it's a beautiful common the way it is.
Well, and as I said, it'll be interesting to see what the general public thinks about it.
Mm.
the one of the things that I had brought up to Ed was I said, you know, we're going from what are really 12 on just the interior of the common, 12 different spaces of personal respite, I guess is the way I can put it, you know, where you could just go and sit and collect your thoughts and just relax because of the hub and spoke kind of design. And because there are basically 5 spokes to it, which have 2 benches per spoke of individual sitting, benches. And then there are 2 benches that flank the bus stop. And it appears that in this new design, we may be going from that to basically only 4 places to sit other than the 2 picnic tables and the swings. And, swings are not really, swings are a different experience in terms of sort of personal space. And just so you understand, when you see the picture, this isn't like a swing set kind of thing. This is like an enclosure, a metal enclosure with a roof that has what looks like very attractive looking, swings in it as a feature on the common. And I think that, their desire is to make it feel more, welcoming and fun. But it's different. It's much different, and I think ultimately they, Ed said that he thought that there were actually at least as many, if not more, places to sit on the common as before. But I've asked him for a count of how many benches are, actual sitting benches are on the inside, and I have to wait for him to respond. But anyway, that's that's my concern is just mostly in terms of whether people, part of I think the attraction to the common has been that people would go there, with their child in a stroller, sit on a bench, just, rock them back, back and forth while they sat on their own bench to be able to do that. And there will be, where 10 people could basically have that individual experience all simultaneously. That I don't think that that's possible anymore in the new design. But whether that's better or not, that's basically up to what the public really is looking for the experience of the common. Ashley, do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, I'd like to see I'm gonna go find the PDF after this meeting. I couldn't find it in my email, but I tend to agree with what you've been saying. I know that I've enjoyed the common as it stands now, a place where you can go and get takeout from one of the many area restaurants and then eat it with your family on the common. So I would want to preserve as much seating areas as possible, and obviously preserve the plaques that people have donated in the past. So I will take a look, and I hope we can talk about it more at our next meeting.
Yeah, no, we definitely will. And as I said, if you have any initial thoughts about it, or please forward them to me so that sometime, I think in not next week, of course, but I think in the week after, that they're going to meet again. And that
and the swings are a little bit confounding too, but I'll take a look. I don't want to speak too much before I've actually seen it. So
I don't want to bias you, right or wrong. There's going to be a difference in the experience, and your feedback about these things is I think is very important. Okay. That and your friends.
Right.
Because it'd be good to be able to circulate this among, the people that because they're all going to, have an input and an impression on what this is all about, and you just want to know whether this is what the people of the town really want. and I don't want, and as I said, I don't want to make it like, I know it's different, and we could definitely have the, the impression that just because it's different, that no, we don't like it. But I mean, I don't come from that. I just want to be able to see people really feel connected to this space as a place that they can, personally relate to and have moments in.
Yeah. Yeah, the pedestrian experience there is really important to the feel of the town overall. And just so part of the reason is for doing this is just modernization, and part of it is because of those problems with the sort of underlayment there that they want to fix, or what am I missing for reasons?
Well, those are the two primary ones that I understand. From a park and forestry, which is Ed Olson, a caretaker for the common, that there is infrastructure issues, and the trees that are existing on the common now, they feel are at the end of their cycle. So basically, what would be happening is virtually everything you see on the common would be completely removed. They would regrade the entire common, put a new underlayment in it, put all brand new soil, then put down, the pavers that will create these walkways around the outsides. They will, replace the Circle of Peace in a different location. The same with the Once Upon a Time. Same opposite sides of the common, but in, more of an item that is along the pathway versus sort of being an integrated part of the the grass itself.
Right. So it sounds like less shade, more paved surfaces, and fewer places to sit. But a more modern look.
Well, well, I don't know what, it appears that maybe less individual places to sit, but if you count how many people can sit at a picnic table in a couple
Yeah.
of these where they're being specifically built in, that creates more places of sitting. And any design person who does this is going to count, if you can have 4 or 6 6 or more people sitting at a picnic table, that's considered 4 or 6 seating positions. Then you take in the 3 swings on either side, so that's probably at least 6 more seating positions. So if they're counting seating positions, that's that you can come up with a big number, but that's basically the issue. It's a different configuration of how to sit on the common.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Paul, if you want me to share my screen, I have the PDF pulled up,
Oh,
if that would be helpful for people.
that would be great. Great. Thank you, Stacy.
Sure. It is not letting me, but here, let me try something else. You guys keep talking, and once I get it, I will let
okay.
you know.
So, hopefully this will come up, but if it does, even if it doesn't, that, just check it out, see what you think. It's going to go out to, to the general public also. And, everybody's going to have a different opinion as to what they think. That's the way virtually everything is. So one of the things that I'll do, while we're trying to be able to do that is we have two projects that are being prepared for design review on December 7th. One is the project with Boylston Properties, which is the mural for the wall that flanks the Walgreens parking lot of Ridge Hill. And that's that one. And the second is the,
Can you?
yeah, and the second one is the one for the mural project for Needham Center Fine Wines. So we'll, you know, we talked to the landlords, and they're both, well, I should say, we talked to Boston Properties. They're very excited about the project itself, and are interested in being able to take it through design review. So, and the second one is Needham Center Fine Wines location, where they've got, where they're also very excited about it. I'm sending the documents through and spoke briefly. That's the new common design, by the way, to the landlord of the building. And so we're going to get, obviously, her input on it. And if she's excited about it, then we will continue on to take that to design review also on December 7th. So that's the new common design. Thank you, Stacy, for.
Sure. And I checked in about the swings with town management, because I was like, oh no, do I have to manage more swings? And what I was told is they're more of a sway than a swing. And it looks like, if you look here, they're like swaying benches.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know that, like, I was picturing like a swing set.
Yeah.
But my understanding is that they are more of a swing bench or a swaying bench.
Yeah. I think that, that they're basically, have a couple of, I think, steel rods that go up to a common pole, and then they just swing back and forth, sway. Yeah, I think that's the better way to be able to say it. They sway back and forth.
I'm trying to see if I can see if there's another picture of the bench. But I do not. Oh, here we go. Page 48.
Actually, yeah, I was going to say, if you go back a little bit further.
Over here.
There's a view.
This is the swing bench right here.
Yeah. And there's the circle of peace relocated to the side of the, covered area. And I also sent information to Ed about for him to be able to contact Gary Price Studios to be able to get all the specifications for understanding how it's been anchored, or where the anchoring points are on the sculpture. Because when we installed it, obviously it was installed not with the intention of moving it. So it's gone 19 years now without ever moving anything. So obviously the concern is if there are pins that come down from each one of the feet, they go into concrete footings, and then there's a concrete pad poured that connects them all up. And then on top of that, there's the rainbow turf, which is that soft rubberized turf that was bonded to that surface that looks like mulch. And then we have the plaque in the center that says Circle of Peace and has the slogan on it and the dedication. So he's aware that it's very solidly installed, and to be able to move it would require basically breaking out all the concrete around it very carefully and removing the footings, and then storing it while they're doing the construction, and then bringing it back and having it all reinstalled again in hopefully a similar manner. So look more closely at the pictures that are available, so you can really spend some time with it and get a feel for the overall experience, and see what you think.
Okay,
All right, so let's see. I just want to make sure we've covered the things we. I covered this, the status of the fund reserves, and obviously we did that at the beginning. And you know, the basically the idea is to be able to, you know, see if we can get this banner funded. Because I don't want to run far over here, but to be able to get the banner funded, hopefully, you know, with anything we can do by the end of the week. So we'll have time to be able to get this up on the regular cycle, and because it won't be, you know, the cycle's already paid for, whether we put up the banner or not. So if we can do this, the only expense is just physically getting the banners delivered. And quiet up Google because it's not time to put my dinner pants on yet. So anyway, anything we can do to be able to help circulate the information we've got, I will send you links to the videos for the 3 things that we've done, the 3 videos, so you can help to circulate those and hopefully drive donations with that. Any letters you can do to be able to help, you know, be able to rally people to donate as soon as you can would be greatly appreciated. The other, you know, element is to take a look at the town common redesign and the downtown streetscape to get a feel for what that looks like, because even in the phase 1, there are there's at least 1, if not 2 places where if we had any type of sculpture or art object that could be installed, that there are a couple of places that were, you know, outlined in that design specifically to hold it, and right now they just sit as you know, sort of round circles, but their intention was to be able to have something there if we wanted it. Not just us, but I mean in terms of the town. So any questions or, you know, comments or ideas to help us do any of the stuff we're working to do, and anything else you can think of that you know, want to be able to share, so before we go off to Thanksgiving, hopefully very safely.
we need to decide on our December Zoom meeting. That Tuesday, Wednesday, December 9th, or Thursday, December 10th was what we were considering. Hanukkah is, I believe, though, the 10th.
So what'd you say, do you think was on the 10th?
Hanukkah,
Oh, Hanukkah. Oh yeah.
so that's why we were looking at to see if Wednesday would be better, whether there's any sense of from the committee.
It says the first day is the 11th on my calendar.
Oh, for Hanukkah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, let's
I
see.
don't know that. That's what I have. The first day and on the 11th and the last day on the 18th.
Well, I guess most of it is, does it affect anyone on the community, you know, on the committee? You know,
I
if,
don't think so.
No,
Sure.
According to Google, it starts on the 10th. For
Okay,
sure.
probably does then.
all righty. So anyway, what do we think about the date for the next meeting?
any problem with either day? No,
Any preference between the Tuesday or Wednesday?
no, not Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday.
Thursday, sorry, yeah.
I
9th of the-
would prefer Thursday if it is all the same to everybody else, but I can make both days.
Okay, so
I think my preference would be either day would work, but I think my preference would be for Wednesday, actually, for me.
Mary Ruth? We're taking votes here.
Okay, I'm fine with either. Doesn't matter. Either one.
All right. Either one works for me.
Anyone for me?
Mine
Either
is
one.
a strong preference, so we can go with Wednesday for Marcus's schedule. That's fine with me.
Awesome. All right. So
Okay,
Tuesday it is.
All right.
So Carol will circulate the next meeting, and we'll put that in
Yeah.
process. And we'll have some updates, I'm sure, by the time we get to get to then. We wanted to get obviously the meeting in before the holidays, and so we don't interfere with anybody else's plans. So I thank you tremendously for being here, being able to be able to help with this, giving your input, and always, if you see opportunities for projects that we want to be able to to really look at, to be able to create. I mean, that's what the whole committee is about, is being able to come up with ideas and seeing places in need that could really be beautified, that would draw more people to feel more like they're part of a connected community, and have fun being in public spaces in ways that don't exist now.
yes,
So I will do after the once we get through design review. One of the things that I plan to do is to potentially do another. Once we go through design review, and then there are a couple other things that I have to do before we actually bring the project to be ready to be for funding. But once those are completed, then I'll do another unveiling, and this one we won't rush. We'll start it off a week in advance, and then promote it multiple times right up through the day of the day of the call, so that we can have much stronger attendance and a lot more time for people to plan it into their schedule. This one was just done quickly because we needed to be able to rally as fast as we could, and we only had a few days of time after the approval. So that's the scoop.
all right.
Any other final comment? Any funny comments? Any final comments? Anything before we go off to Thanksgiving?
Thanks to
Everybody have a
Stacy.
happy Thanksgiving.
You too, everybody.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And Stacy, thank you tremendously for being our controller for all of this, and being able to actually
Sure.
provide that initial information so people get a look at it. And
Not a problem.
we'll catch up in
June
another.
6th,
Yes, that'd be great.
Yeah.
6th, and okay.
Thank you. I'm going to
Great.
stop recording now.
Sounds